There's a local small charity realising their big dream this week to focus on not allowing disability to prevent you from success. They're called Rafiki Thabo Foundation. Today they've started a campaign supported by Radio 4. It's being championed by blind adventurer, entrepreneur, TV presenter and public speaker Amar Latif and Harry Baker from Banbury, who plays for the England CP football team. They both joined me this morning. Guys, good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Amar, let me begin with you first of all. Tell me a bit about the work of this charity, the Rafiki Thabo Foundation. What do they do?
Well, they're an incredible charity based in Oxfordshire, and they totally transform the lives of children in developing countries like in Uganda and Kenya and Lesotho. So basically, for example, 8 out of 10 children in Uganda cannot afford an education. So Rafiki Thabo Foundation enables those children to get an education. And it's just so incredible because the stories that you hear, from there, I found out about this girl called Praise who lost her sight. She was blind and she got abandoned by her father and, couldn't go to school. And Rafiki Thabo Foundation really steps in and make sure that these youngsters get an education. And by getting an education, it totally transforms not only their lives, but, lives of people around them as well.
You must get asked to lend your support to a variety of causes. Why was it important for you to back this appeal?
Oh, this is just so natural, Danny, because, I'm blind myself. I was 18 years old. I woke up and, I couldn't see anything around me. And I realized that I was blind. But I was lucky as I was growing up, as I was losing some of my sight, I was able to get the support of, the great British system. Like we always, we don't really appreciate what we have in this country, but it is absolutely incredible, what the education system that we've got. And so when I found out about, Rafiki Thabo Foundation and the stuff that they did, it touched me deeply because I thought my parents are from Pakistan. And if my dad hadn't chosen to come into the UK in the 60s, I would have probably grown up in Pakistan and I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I had. My dad used to sell soap barefooted as a kid in the market stalls. And I just don't know what, as a blind person, the opportunities I would have had. So when I found out about the Rafiki Thabo Foundation and how they enable disadvantaged children, blind children and orphans in these developing countries, I thought, oh my God, this is just so special, because that could have easily been me.
And by comparison to your dad, you're an adventurer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a TV presenter, a public speaker. You've achieved so much, as you said, also blind, losing 95% of your sight at an early age. Who encouraged you to be where you are today? Who was it that pushed you forward, that gave you that belief?
Well, I would say that my mum and dad were really supportive. My mum loved us so much and she would do anything. My dad would say, look, lions always get hurt. When I crashed into something, he'd like, look, just pick yourself up and, lions don't cry, and he used to give me that encouragement. And his stories, so when he was going to the market stalls to sell soap, one day he came across these kids and they were like exotic kids. And he said to his friend, oh, where do these kids come from? They dress so well and they speak so good. And said, oh, they come from a place called England. And my dad said, well, one day when I have children, I'm going to bring them up in England. So he got in a car and came all the way to the UK. He got rejected in the borders in France. And this was back in the 60s. And someone told them to go and see a fisherman in Belgium. And this fisherman took one look at him and said, I see the problem. He goes, we need to dress you up as an English gentleman. So an English gentleman always wears a bowler hat and a raincoat and has an umbrella in one hand and a newspaper in the other. And with that, posted my dad off on the ferry to Dover, and the rest is history. And in our family, out of the 5 kids, 3 of us are blind. We're like the 3 blind mice. And I think just how our parents encouraged us and supported us and my dad was an entrepreneur, and that kind of like gave me the drive to go on. And yeah, like you said, I wanted to be an accountant, and the accountancy world said that they didn't think a blind person could be an accountant, but I became an accountant. Then I wanted to travel the world, and group travel companies would say, look, you need to bring somebody with you on these trips. And I found that so limiting, and I was able to set up my own travel company. And yeah, I mean, I make travel documentaries for the BBC now. I was on MasterChef a few years ago. There is no limits. So if you put the right support in place, the future is limitless. And that's what Rafiki Thabo Foundation does.
Harry Baker in Banbury, is that how you walk around every day, with a bowler hat and an umbrella?
No, I can't say I do. I think I should, though. I think I definitely improved my style.
You're a patron of the Rafiki Thabo Foundation. Why did you want to get behind it? Why did you want to support it?
Similar to what Amar said, I think all these children, you realise how fortunate you are that we are given an education, and we never really question that. And I think all these children in these developed countries don't get that chance. And I think, how different would my life be if I hadn't had my education? I now work in the education field, and I go into schools and teach physical education. And I think it's great to see these kids develop. And I think there are kids out there who still don't have this opportunity. It's just beyond me. So I think the charity is just fantastic to try and change that.
Hey, look, there's so much more we could talk about, and we will. Are you okay both hanging on with us for a few more moments?
Yes, absolutely. If you play a nice track, we'll enjoy it.
I'll do my best.
No pressure now.
Tell me what you reckon to the Style Council, and You're the Best Thing. I guess that fits the bill of a nice track.
Fantastic. Yeah, agree. Thumbs up.
Good. Okay, with your approval, we'll do it, and we'll come back in just a moment. I'm Danny Cox here at BBC Radio Oxford. Let's continue talking about the Oxfordshire-based charity Rafiki Thabo Foundation. They've started a new campaign supported by Radio 4. They want to raise awareness and funds for the work they do for disadvantaged children in Kenya, Uganda, Lesotho, who could otherwise maybe not afford to pay school fees. Now, many are disabled, many are orphaned, and with an education, they've got the best opportunity to fulfill their potential and transform their futures. Two people championing their work are adventurer, entrepreneur, TV presenter and public speaker Amar Latif, who we spoke to a moment ago. We'll come back and talk more with Amar, who's blind, in a moment. And Harry Baker from Banbury, who plays for the England CP football team. Harry, tell us a bit more about you. You have cerebral palsy, but this hasn't held you back, obviously, from playing football.
No, I'm very fortunate. I've got great family support. My mum was told from when I was born that there's a high possibility that I'd never walk. My mum was like, I'm not having that. So she quit her job and became a masseuse and a yoga instructor. And then she stretched me every day and made me wear my braces and calipers. And I'm so thankful for today, because now I can walk, run and play football.
What was your state of mind in those early years? Were you determined to achieve more, or did you just think, well, this is the way it is? Why should anything hold me back? Let's just do whatever I can do.
I think it was more the second one. I think at the start I really struggled to figure out who I was as a person, because, all my friends didn't have disabilities, and I was sort of thinking, why me? Why have I got cerebral palsy? Why am I different to others? And obviously get the bullies as well, because you are different to other people. And eventually it sort of clicked, and I was like, actually, there's nothing I can do about this. It's part of me, so I might as well embrace it and just do the best I can. And Mum always told me, as long as you try your best, then that's all you can do. And thankfully, I just sort of fell into football, fell in love with it, and then I got scouted for Northampton Pan Disability Team. And then from there, I realised there was a talent pathway, and I've climbed that, and I've been playing for England ever since.
What was the day you got the England cerebral palsy football call-up?
Oh, it was incredible. I remember I was sat at home, and it was my first ever England camp, and the tournament for the Intercontinentals in 2013 was next month, so that's a selection camp. So I went to the camp, and I thought, I'm not going to get picked. It's my first ever England camp. I don't expect, to go to the tournament. And I was sat at home, and obviously you still get a bit nervous. And I was like, I'm not going to go. I'm waiting for the phone call to tell me what's going. And Mum walks through the door from work, and she goes, "Are you happy?" And I was like, "Why? You've been picked for the England Intercontinentals." And I was like, "What?" But she'd known since 12 o'clock and hadn't told me since 5 o'clock.
How did she know before you?
because I was only 16, they had my contact, they had her contact details. So they rang her and let her know, and then she's telling all her Pilates patients, and I'm there sat at home twiddling my thumbs, getting all excited.
When you hear of children being supported by the Rafiki Thabo Foundation, you must understand what your life could have been if you didn't have the support you did have.
Yeah, and that's why this charity has been so much to me. They have 245 scholars, and 40 of these are living with disabilities. And like Amar said, we praise his story. Like, what could have her life been if Rafiki hadn't come and supported her? And I think exactly the same for me. Like, what would I have been? Got the education? Would my family have left me and deserved me in these places? So I think it's an amazing charity, and they do some fantastic work.
Amar, let me bring you back in again. The right support crucial to helping children achieve their potential, and really nothing should be a barrier to that.
Absolutely. Having that right support is just so critical, and you can just achieve so much in life if you have that support. And like in the case of this young girl called Praise, not only could she not see the sunset in her rural village, but she, becoming blind, she lost the support of her father, who just left her because the shame was too much. And that's what happens in these countries. It's worse than having a disability in our country. Like, people hide you away. I've traveled to loads of interesting places all across the world, a place like Ghana, where I came across this little 5-year-old boy, and I went to this blind school, and he was on all fours just grunting, and I was like, what's happened to him? And they said, like, this little boy had been locked up in a room for all his small life because his family were shamed in case anybody saw him. And then the social services eventually managed to convince the family to send him to school, but he'd just learned to be this creature. And it was just, I was just so emotional that kind of thing happens, and it happens now, in these countries.
Finally, what would you say to people to encourage them to support the appeal?
I would say that it's a charity that makes a huge difference, and it doesn't even cost that much. So for £350, you can send a child to a specially adapted school for a whole year. And not only that, but the foundation also has a meal program as well, because a lot of these kids are in great poverty. So they enable them to have meals while they're being educated. So if you really want to see people's lives change, you can make a massive difference by making whatever donation that you can. A small donation makes a massive difference here. They're an incredible charity, and they'll make sure that more and more kids get this support.
Amar Latif and Harry Baker from Banbury. Really inspiring to talk with both of you this morning. Continued success. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. And can I just say that if people do want to make a donation, they can do just by calling 0800 404 8144. And the BBC Radio 4 appeal is on tonight as well at 9:25 p.m, as well as on Thursday on the 10th of February at 3:37 p.m. So, your support is greatly welcome. Thank you.
No worries. And you can find out more about the charity from rafikifoundation.org.uk or through bbc.co.uk/appeal/radio4. This